All right, boys and girls, now we're moving on to example 7. And in example 7, they want us to find an equation of a graph, okay? So we're going to use this one from the book, and they're asking you to find the amplitude. They're asking us to find the period and phase shift of the sine function shown below. So we know this is a sine function, okay? And they want us to write the equation. Phase shift is basically another way of letting us know if it shifted, left, right, up, or down. So you have to figure that out. Okay, so this is the graph, and now we're probably gonna refer to it often. Okay, but let's start. Okay, so just by looking at it, you could tell a couple things. Let me grab a marker. Okay, so normally sine, the parent function, sine of x would start at 0, 0. Notice this one's starting at 0, -1. So that means it got shifted down 1 unit, okay? And also to get the amplitude, notice the highest point is 0, and then the lowest point is -2. To get that amplitude, you basically just take half the distance from that. Okay, so 0 to 2, that's 2, or 0 to -2, that's 2. And you take half of that, the amplitude is 1. So we know those things just right off the bat. Okay, so let's write that down. Okay, so the amplitude is 1, so that means our A is 1, and it was shifted down 1 unit. I'm trying to take the glare off. So if it was shifted down 1 unit, that means your lowercase d will be -1. So we can actually start writing those values down. So -1 plus, of course, A is 1 sine. And I don't know if you could tell, but I'll go back to the graph. It didn't look like it was moved because it was just from 0 to 0, just down. So it wasn't shifted left or right, okay? So now let's figure out our B. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, I'm gonna refer back to the graph. Okay, this is a sine, and so it goes up max, down min, up max. Okay, so here you could tell they're giving us 2 cycles. Okay, see, it starts down here, min, max, min, max. They're giving us 2 cycles, but technically we just want 1 cycle. Okay, so we'll start at 0, and then we want max, and then down min, and so it actually ends at 2. So your period is actually 2. And if you don't know how to do that, I can show you a different way how you can find it algebraically. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we know that the formula to find the period is x equals 2 pi over b. Okay, and I did say that the window that they gave us went from -1 to 3, but it was 2 cycles. Okay, so if you're not sure what a cycle looks like, just remember the parent function. Okay, so the parent function should basically just be a max and then the min. But if you notice our picture, they gave us more than that. Okay, they gave us this much, which is 2 cycles. Okay, so because they gave us 2 cycles, technically this is 2 cycles. So it would be 2x equals 2 pi over b. Okay, now what is x? X is going to be our our domain, our interval. Okay, so now I can replace x with 3 because we know the window went as far as 3. So with 3. What I don't know is what my b is. So I'm just going to solve for b. Okay, so this is 6 equals 2 pi over b. And you can do one of two things. Guys, that's a 6, sorry. You can do one of two things. You can either write a proportion and then cross multiply, or just switch these because ultimately that's what you're doing. So if you look, you're going to have 2 pi equals 6b, and then divide by 6. Okay, and then you should have pi over 3. But I think I did something wrong, and I can't see it. Actually, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I just remembered. This is my interval when it was two cycles. Oops, sorry. When this was 2 cycles, so I get pi over 3 when I have 2 cycles. But that's why it was kind of weird, but I shouldn't get that. So let me fix that. Okay, so they used 2 cycles here, but I only want 1. So let me fix that. So I only want it up to here because this would be 1 cycle right here, okay? So the value that we're going to use is 2. So now let's try this again and fix it. So earlier I put 2x, but I really shouldn't have done that because 3 is 2x, if that makes sense, because it's 2 cycles, okay? So let's work it out again without doing that. So, okay, so here we go. So this is going to be 3b equals 2 pi and divide by 3. So b equals 2 pi over 3. But this is when it's 2 cycles. And I don't want 2 cycles, okay? So let me make sure I'm doing this right, because somehow I keep feeling like I'm doing something wrong. Okay, I just started from scratch, so I'm doing it one more time. And apologize. I don't know why I cannot see my mistake. It's late at night and I've been at this for a long time, so I'm going to stick with 2. We know that it should be 2, so I thought I could do it the other way, and I don't know why it's not working out. So if anybody spots my mistake, let me know. So anyways, to solve for b, this would be 2b equals 2 pi, divide by 2 to both sides. Our b should be pi, okay? So you basically have all the values that you need. So now if you go back to our equation, we have -1 because it's shifted down 1. Our a is 1, and this is going to be sine of pi times x. And this is our equation. Now remember, it doesn't get shifted left or right, so there won't be any c there, okay? And this is it. And this is how you go from a graph to an equation, okay? Let's do one more and let's see if we could do it a little bit better, okay? All right, let's try one more. I figured I would try a different one. So I'm trying number 75 and it's on page 300. You might want to follow me at the same time because I'm actually not going to show you the picture. So follow me at the same time. And the nice thing about it is that they're already telling us that it's sine, and they're giving us what the function should look like. So we pretty much have to find our a value, our b, and our c. So what's going to happen is we'll have an amplitude. The b, of course, will help us find our period, and c will be a shift, okay, left or right. So these are the 3 things that we need to find, okay? So look at your graph on page 75. And notice, we're going to start finding the amplitude first, okay? Notice how high and how low it goes on the y-axis. Okay, so notice it goes all the way up to 3 and all the way down to -3, okay? And this is a sine. So, we know that sine should basically sine should basically be, apologize, in the basic format at the y-axis. It should basically cross this way and then just go up and down. But if you look at that one on 75, it's actually going down first there on the y-axis. So what that means is our amplitude is going to be negative. It got reflected, and it's 3, okay? So remember, it goes as high as 3 and as low as -3. So it's just like it's taking the distance and dividing it by 2. That's how you find the absolute value, okay? So it's negative because it got reflected, and it's 3 because, again, the distance divided by 2, okay? All right, so that's that. Now, now let's go with B because I think that's going to be the little bit harder part, okay? So, let me show you how to find b. Okay, so to get your period, you can use x equals 2 pi over b. And if you look at the graph on page 300, number 75, it goes from negative 2 pi to 2 pi. But if you look, I believe they showed us like 4 cycles. Okay, so I'm just going to look at the positive side from 0 to 2 pi. That's 2 cycles. Half of that is pi, and that's a full cycle. So what I'm going to replace x with is pi, because that'll be 1 full cycle. So this would be 2 pi over b. Now I'm just going to solve for b. Okay, so this is going to be b times pi equals 2 pi divided by pi, and then b equals 2. Okay, so my b value should be 2. Okay, and now I just have to get my c value. But guys, to get the c value is super simple, because the parent function sign should be at 0, 0, and if you notice here, it's at 0, 0, so it didn't move left or right. So that what that means is your sign is, your c value is 0. Okay, and that's it. And they just wanted us to find a, b, and c. They didn't even want us to put it in an equation, but that's pretty much it. Okay, all right, boys and girls, I think you have more than enough to start the today's homework, and I definitely expect questions on this section. Okay, all right, good luck.